Hello and welcome back to Black Dice Gaming. I'm James and today we're painting up the Wyvern from the Dungeons and Lasers box set. So we've done your normal undercoat of Chaos Black. Actually it's colour forged that I use, so it's matte black. And then dry brushed with a grey and a white. First colour we're using here is Guilliman's Flesh. Brilliant colour for doing the insides of the wings, the wing membrane so to speak. What I've done is I also sort of concentrated a little bit harder on the white in those areas so that the Guilliman's Flesh stands out just that little bit more. There are some parts of the Wyvern that is skin, not all scales, so this is what I'm doing now. Underneath the sort of neck and down the centre of the tail, those areas need to be in a skin colour. Although I suppose you could miss them out if you really didn't want to do them. So a few areas on the legs as well. They need to be done in the Guilliman's Flesh. Just be careful. It's not the end of the world if you do be a little messy at this stage, because we're going over with a darker colour anyway, so it doesn't really matter a great deal. But obviously, being neat is always best. So while that's drying, we'll do the first thing on the base, and that is just to paint that branch. You can use either the branch or the boat. I've decided to go with the branch, and all I'm doing here is I'm painting that in Gore Grunter Fair. It's a nice sort of deep brown contrast paint, which we're going to highlight a little bit later on with a bit of dry brushing. And it's a good place to start. It's a good place as any to start with it, with a nice brown. And then back to the main beast itself. What I'm doing here is I'm painting all the scales, and that I chose Militarum Green. It's a very nice rich green colour, and just going to go around and do all the scales in that colour, trying to pick out pretty much once you've done the green, you've done most 90% of the miniatures actually coloured at that point. But yeah, so it might take a little while, but just go around nice and gently. You don't want to get it on any of the Guilliman's Flesh that we've already done, so try and be a little bit careful around those areas. But other than that, just knock yourself out. Okay, so while the green's drying, we'll move on, do a little bit more on the base. And all I'm doing is I'm picking out this little bit of water feature down at the bottom. I'm doing that in Talisar Blue. It's a nice blue colour. I use that quite a lot really, it's probably my go-to blue colour. But you can use anything that you'd like. Again, moving back onto the beast now, we're using Skeleton Horde Contrast. And what I do with my Skeleton Horde is I always dilute it 50-50 with Contrast Medium, just to make it a little bit lighter. And all we're doing here is doing the bone areas and the claws on the dragon itself. So you've got this sort of appendage at the end of its tail, which looks like a pincer of some sorts. So I've painted that in the Skeleton Horde. Its horns on its head, which are quite big. So I do those as well in the Skeleton Horde Contrast. At that stage, you've pretty much base coated the entire miniature now. And so what we'll be doing from this point on is probably just layering up the colours that are already on there, usually with a dry brush. Okay, so once contrast is drying, moving on to the base. Basilicanum Grey, as always, that's my recipe for stone. So I'm using the Basilicanum Grey on the stone as a first coat. You know, we will be coming back and dry brushing that as well. I did notice on the base as I was painting it in the Basilicanum that there's a cannon and what looks to be like a couple of cannonballs just to the side of it. I did paint them in, well, I didn't paint the cannon, but I did paint the cannonballs in the Basilicanum. But I do come back later on and we'll pick them out in a metallic colour. So moving on with the first dry brush, and then we're just picking out the wing membranes, just the highlighted points, the raised areas. The wings texture is absolutely amazing for exactly doing this. It's almost like they've been designed to do it. I'm using Kislev, no I didn't actually, I did use Kislev flesh, sorry, apologise. Kislev flesh is what I used. But if you want a bit of a richer, darker tone, then maybe like the Cadian flesh tone is another one. I debated using that, so I did use Kislev in the end. But if you look how it picks up on those raised areas, it really makes them stand out. It's really worth doing this little extra step, and it doesn't take long. Very, very simple step to do. So second dry brush, and we're moving on to the scales now. I dry brush this one in Ogrum Camo, I believe it's called, which is a very muted yellowy green, but it picks out really well. You can see how it's kind of highlighted it up to a yellowy green colour, and it works well with the Militano green that we used on the scales. Just be careful here, you don't particularly want to get the green everywhere. At this point you've probably done quite a lot of the Kislev flesh, so just be very careful, especially on the wings. If you are going to dry brush the sort of spent spines on the wings, Just be a little careful not to get it on the green. On the flesh, sorry, not the green. You do want it on the green. It's exactly where you want it. Mainly focusing on the areas that are going to be hit with light, so it looks more natural. It's okay to leave the shaded areas in the original colour. Again, dry brush and base now. We're moving on to the water. For that I used Hoeth Blue. And again, it's just a nice colour, pale blue colour, and it works extremely well. Sorry, I'm just putting the paints back as I list them off. I put them back onto my shelf, so I keep them all separate until I've worked out what I've used. Moving back onto the brown, highlighting the brown here, we used Steel Legion Drab, just a very plain, simple colour. Works really well on highlighting the branches. Picking out the tongue now, I used Volupus Pink. Again, ideal colour for doing just that. Really nice the way that it sort of, the tongue has got quite a bit of texture, so using a contrast paint on it is quite ideal really. And that's exactly what I did. You can see how sort of ribbed the tongue is there. Now, the one thing I did have an issue with was the sort of, I don't know whether it's spittle or water or what, but I picked it out as if it was water, as if it was drinking, lapping from the pool that it stood on its base. Yeah, I mean, I'm not overly keen on that part of the model. I think it looks a little bit tacky, but I picked that out later on. So going back to the stonework now, I'm just using Administratum Grey just to highlight that up, just to catch the edges on the stonework, just to give it a little bit more definition, a little bit more contrast. To be fair, once you've finished at this stage, it does look like it's just the undercoat, the slap chop undercoat that we use, but you know, you can tell. Moving on now, painting these, whatever they are, I really don't know. I probably would have cut them off my model. I think my friend Kev, he clipped his off, and I agree with him. I think I should have done that really, but I tried to paint them as they are, so this is it. Just doing that in the Talisar blue, so same as the water is on its base. Should have done it at the same time, but forgot all about it. Just be careful not to get it on the pink. You don't want the two colours to fuse together, because they're both quite strong colours. The contrast paint's both quite strong, so you don't really want them mixing with each other and causing yourself any problems further down the line. So just picking out the cannon now. I've just used the standard silver Iron Hands steel. Usually my go-to for most metallic work. And then eventually I do give, I'm not sure if I filmed it, so I will say that I did give it a wash with Nuln oil. Yeah, that's what I'm doing at this stage here. You may be able to, depending on the camera angle here, you may be able to pick out some of the cannonballs that are picked out on the base as well, but they're obvious. When you start painting the stone, you can see they're at perfect balls, so it doesn't look like stonework at all. Then you're just at the bottom of it. So all I did, pick out the teeth in Ushabti Bone and paint its eye with Evil Suns, and that was it. This is it, nice and finished, all done and dusted. If you've enjoyed what you've watched, then please like and subscribe, and hopefully I shall catch you in the next one.